Welcome back to the SRM 3D Prints channel. My name is Tim. So today we're back here on the Marlin Special / Foundry Special. I think that's the Foundry Special is what the production name is going to be on this printer. Today we're going to deal with a couple different things. So first off, we're going to get all these mounting brackets for the X or the Y-axis locked down. But secondary, the heated beds that I ended up getting for this are just slightly longer than the heated beds that I had on my other printers. But since these are the commercially available ones, we're going to have to roll with this. But the problem is when it comes over here, it's going to hit right here on the side of the frame. So what I'm going to do, and I actually have a little bit of material left on the guide rods for the X-axis. I'm actually going to move all these brackets over by 10 millimeters and then increase the gap on the edge of this frame, which should give plenty of clearance. I think we're only interfering by probably about 3 millimeters, so there'll be a little bit of wiggle room past that once we're all done. But yeah, so that's what we're doing today. We're going to finish getting everything mounted and do the modification to the frame, then break it all down, start sanding and doing some of the finish work.
I printed this little template so that way I wouldn't have to manually locate every hole for the Y-axis here. And I'm just running a tap through them all, and I'll verify that everything bolts up as it's supposed to. The first set of bolts that I tried on here were just a smidgen too long, so I ended up swapping them out for some slightly shorter ones. I'll have to make a note of the length of every bolt and nut in this thing as we get closer to production. And then took a little time to press the bearing in for everything and noted the length of the shaft that I'm going to need to make for this thing. And now I'm just switching to the other bracket. I used the same template to align everything. Up next, I'm going to be noting the position of these brackets on the gantry, because I need to mark and shift them over by about 10 millimeters to make clearance for the bed. And this was a little bit tricky because like the bottom couple holes are really close to the frame. So I ended up having to make a special tool so I can hold a drill bit extended out a lot further and actually get the bottom couple holes tapped. Way more difficult than it needed to be. I think in the final printer we're going to have it where the frame can be disassembled, so I don't, if you ever needed to make a change, it wouldn't be quite so difficult. Now that I got the last of the bracket bolts in, I'm going to reassemble the verticals here and make sure that they are parallel before I commit to tearing this printer down. I did take the time to mark and draw out where I need to alter the opening for the gantry there before I tore it all apart, just because I want to make sure I cleared everything properly. It doesn't take very long to disassemble this frame, just lots of little bolts. And next we're going to open up this little edge of the gantry. And unfortunately I couldn't get a saw in where I wanted to, so I took and used a skill saw to get most of the straight done, reciprocating saw to kind of remove it, and then I actually put a little piece of tape on the end of my handsaw so I wouldn't scar up the piece as I got close to the edge there. It actually worked out really well, and then I just took the Dremel to clean up the remaining little unevenness. I took my orbital sander to more or less just remove all the pencil marks that I had all over this thing. And just in general, round over the edges and smooth everything out. From there, I switched over to a 320 grit sandpaper just to again further refine everything. The staining process is actually going to raise the grain on this, and I didn't take the time to sand it all down after the staining, so it'll just kind of be what it is, but it's better to start with a smooth finish. This hand sanding might be a bit tedious, but as I was showing my friend that was visiting the shop today, how much of a difference it really does make. And now that we're all done with the sanding, we're switching over to stain. And I just use a absorbent rag to just kind of spread everything all over the place. It does take a little more stain in on the end grain, just because it's got little minute recesses. But overall, it not too bad to work in. So I usually kind of blot the fine edges and then just kind of blend everything from there.
Well, I'm going to take a break from here. My camera battery is getting ready to die, so I'll give you guys some nice shots of this all finished up once I get done. But I'll finish the staining off process. Basically the same process of what I was just doing. Just making sure you work it in nice and evenly, and it should look pretty sharp when it's all said and done. But anyway, so thanks for watching, and next video we'll have this thing going back together for the last time.